You
Mike,
sound
what's
all
up, baby?
mellow. What's happening, my brother? You sound all mellow. What's going on?
No, now I'm good. I was just putting I'm actually doing a story right now, working on some shit, yo. I'm so hyped right there. Yo, Mike, how you feel,
Writing
man?
some music?
Yo,
I'm
yeah.
good, man.
Just let you know, man. Michael, that's my brother, son. I love
I
this dude
know that's why I
so
wanted to
much,
get
man.
y'all two together for this discussion because all three of us have strong opinions when it comes to Nintendo. And after that dismal direct that just happened, I mean, it's just, it's time for us to have a good discussion about the future of Nintendo, what they should do, and it's time for the Nintendo fan base to just finally come to grips with reality. You
Well,
know,
and the thing is, I get that if you like Nintendo the best of all the systems, that you want them to succeed, and I totally get that. But the fact is that this generation, they're just not going to succeed on the console, period, because I mean, Iwata's comment that it's not too late for the Wii U to turn it around. I mean, does anybody actually believe that? Come
well,
on.
let me ask you a question, Mr. Pachter. Is it possible for Nintendo to stay in the handheld race while going third party on the home console race?
Possible, of course, and I don't look. I don't think they should go third party home console forever. I think they should go third party this generation and just say we need to make money. We can't lose money. And if we put our games on the PS3 and PS4 and Xbox 360 and Xbox One for 2 or 3 or 4 years until we get our act together on the console side, that's what we're going to do. And then when we're ready with a new console, we'll go back exclusive on our new console. So I think they win over 40 or 50 million new consumers who haven't owned a Nintendo console before. And if you think about it, we all know these people. There are people who are Xbox 360 fanboys. They don't own a Wii. They never have, and they probably think Mario and Pokemon and Zelda are stupid. If they played it, they'd go, "This is really good shit," and they would want that. They want those games in their next iteration. So I think you can win over tons of people who had never considered playing a Nintendo game before just by putting that software on the consoles. Make money on the software side of the console business for the next 3 or 4 years, and then switch back to exclusive when you're ready to launch a new console.
But is
That
that
wouldn't hurt
really
Nintendo at
feasible?
all.
Is that really feasible? Can they actually leave the home console side for that many years and then be able to re-enter? Or do you not think that after leaving the home console side and building up that audience on all platforms, wouldn't it be counterproductive to then go back to a home console? I mean, let's be honest here. Right now, Nintendo, as far as third party supports goes, it's crickets everywhere. That's all you hear is crickets when it comes to third party. And right now the state of the gaming industry is a lot of people are upset about how third party does even on PlayStation and Microsoft console. They put out half finished products, day one patch products on disc DLC. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Mr. Pachter and HipHopGamer, from your gaming side,
Yeah.
is if 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 companies like EA and Activision and Ubisoft and others could not run and hide, if they had to compete with Nintendo on across 5 platforms, what do you think that would do as to making EA and other companies to start to better themselves and put out better products?
Hmm. Well, I
I
mean,
I think it would force them. I agree with that. That would force them to compete. I totally agree. You'd see better products out of everybody.
It would be equal to the best generation ever, wouldn't it?
yeah, nah, definitely. I feel that anytime you attack a company's pockets, you're going to have to force their hand. You see what I'm saying? It's one of those situations where, like, I give you an example. I've recently done a lot of stories, and I recently had Steve Weatherford from the New York Giants. Right, he was on my show, and we was talking about the NFL 2K situation and how NFL 2K isn't around right now because of the deal that EA did with the exclusive license to the NFL. Now, my thing is, anytime you put a situation where you attack someone's pockets, then it's like they are forced to compete. They're forced to do more to get more out of their game or out of their system. But when they did that deal, when EA did that deal and just eliminated the competition from a a professional standpoint with the NFL, do they really have to work as hard every year? They're the only ones there. You see what I'm saying? So,
I'm with
I
you.
don't think it's right. I think
NFL 2K needs to come back.
yeah, NFL 2K needs to come back so we could really see some true competition because when NFL 2K was there, it affected Madden's market. It affected their pocket. So they had to do something to compete. It just happened to be a monopoly instead of an increase in quality in the game. So, but I feel if Nintendo did that, as great as their first party games are, oh shit, please, everybody has to step their game up on a serious matter if they went that route. Yeah.
Mr. Pachter?
No, it's absolutely right. I mean, I think that right now on the Xbox 360 and PS3 and 2B on the Xbox One and the PS4, you're going to see the first parties with single digit, share with under 10% share, and
Yeah.
you're going to see the third parties slug it out for the other 90%. And the fact is that there's only really, three or four other third parties that are going to capture 80% of that 90%, which is
Yeah.
Activision, EA, Take-Two, and Ubisoft. The Japanese guys aren't going to be that big outside of Japan. I mean, occasionally you'll get a Tomb Raider or Thief out of IDOS, but you're not going to get massive. Occasionally you'll get a Street Fighter or something. But if Nintendo came in there, it would suddenly be a 5-horse race instead of a 4-horse race, and that fifth horse would be very favorably competing for 20% market share. I think that you would see everybody step it up. And I think the thing that's
How do you think
interesting.
this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
I think the thing that's interesting is that the U.S. publishers and Ubisoft have skewed really heavily toward open world and shooter games. Obviously we continue to have sports, but you don't see things that are really family friendly unless they're dance oriented or music oriented. And Nintendo's got a ton of E-rated titles that are challenging games that are kind of non-threatening to a family. If you have an 11-year-old kid, that's kind of right on the edge. Do you let them play Call of Duty or not? But you totally let them play anything that says Nintendo on it. So I actually think Nintendo would own that market, under 13 market, and
Mm.
would own about 20 or 25% of the over 13 market. And that would make everybody start rethinking exactly what types of games they produce. So I think it'd be great for gamers across the
Hey
board.
Nathan,
Yes,
hey
sir.
Nathan, just to add to this too, right? Here is the official truth of what's going on right now, just to support what Mike was saying as well. Gamers want Nintendo games, but they want to play them on PS4 and Xbox One systems because those systems represent forward movement and technology and things that you can't do on the 360 and PS3 anymore.
Plus, they got
So,
full third-party support.
and plus they got full third party support. So think about it like this: if a person spend $400 or $500 on a system, they want to know that it's going to get proper support. You know what I'm saying? Tons of games, tons of new features, and tons of revolutionary, evolvements throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? So they can have something true, tried and true to their investment. That's what PS4 and Xbox One is bringing. Nintendo Wii U isn't bringing that, but their games are great. How do you bring that together? If Nintendo was willing to do that and kind of took their pride out of their decision, oh my god! Like you'll see something. Nintendo will probably be bigger than Sony and Microsoft if they allowed their games to make them money from a console standpoint and still thrive off the hardware business of handheld. It'll be the biggest decision that they've made that can make them a ton more money than the position that they're in now.
And I totally agree.
And I
See,
and I actually think
so sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Pachter.
think that I think on the console side, if they were third party, that would help the handheld business because I think there are tons of adults, guys, 18-year-old and older guys, and women who own Xbox 360s and will own Xbox Ones and PS4s who have not played on a handheld since they were little kids, and who would say, "Oh my God, this Zelda game is so amazing! I got to get myself a 3DS. I got to play that when I'm in the
Yep.
car, when I'm on the plane or wherever train or wherever I am."
Yep.
So the thing I've been thinking about is if Nintendo's not willing to, how Iwata says we're not in competition with Microsoft and Sony.
That's bullshit.
Here's the thing though. If you're not in
That's
competition with
bullshit.
Microsoft and Sony, then why are you expecting your consumer base to buy your console that won't have third-party support, that will only have your games? In this day and age, in this economy, that is almost outright wrong to expect somebody to go buy just their console just for their games and then tell them, well, you can always have Xbox or PlayStation for all the other games. You know,
You know, that to me that's like Apple saying we're not in competition with the PC, or we're not in competition with the Samsung Android phone. You know, that's just bullshit. And Apple's not stupid enough to say that. And I mean this sincerely. Iwata is stupid enough to say that shit. It's like, okay, if you're Apple, you can say, hey, if you really want the ultimate telephone experience, of course you're buying an iPhone. And I own one. I get it. I made that conscious decision that the iPhone had more apps and better stuff than the Android phone. But you can't. Anybody who owns an iPhone considered an Android phone. They looked at it, they touched it, and they said they make that choice. I believe anybody who buys an Xbox One should look at a Wii U, but they don't. Nintendo's become irrelevant. So when he says we don't compete, he should have said we suck so bad we can't compete. That would be fine. But to say
I'm
we
gonna tell you
don't
something too.
compete, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna tell you, oh, I'm sorry. My bad, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm gonna tell you something
No, no,
too.
go.
This is the problem in the industry. Like the industry, like when you look at like a lot of these people, like a lot of suits in the industry or the voices of the business, they feel like they're superheroes. Like, look, you have to be real with yourself so your audience can be real with you too. Like if you open up and be real, you'd be surprised at the support that you'll get, like just by being real. You know what I'm saying? But when you say something that you know is a bold faced lie, and the people that support you know it's a lie and know it's like full of shit or questionable, you're gonna lose more than you gain because now you're being dishonest with people that gave you money to support you. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. You
yep.
gotta. That's like with PlayStation 3. Like Sony admitted that, hey, look, like it was hard to develop for. We know what our problem was. Why do you think the PS4 is such a different beast than PS3 in terms of everything about it? Like you know what I'm saying? You don't think they learned from that mistake? So you have to be able to take your punches, take your lumps, as well as handle the rewards of success as well. Nintendo's in a situation where they need to just be open and honest with their fan base, make a different decision or make a different business model for their games, and move forward along the way. And I guarantee you, they'll still have a ton of support if they did it that way.
Yep. It was a very telling. Remember, what was it, about a week ago? The Sony CEO of UK or whatever came out, and he had said something about that if Nintendo ever left the industry, that then Sony would have to start to make kid-friendly, family-friendly games. It almost felt like he was saying, Nintendo, we would like to have your games on our system. And
Indirectly.
I guarantee you, Microsoft and Sony both, they would jump through roofs to be able to take and get Nintendo's games on their system. Now, Nintendo, like remember Pachter, the last time we talked, you talked about how the industry is that, you help the publisher pay for marketing and stuff. You know what I mean? Well,
Hmm.
there's two ways that if Nintendo was to go third party, there's two ways they could go. They could either A, do like the rest of the third parties and take money from those publish or from Sony and Microsoft, or B, they could actually tell Sony and Microsoft, keep your money. We're going to produce our game ourselves. We're going to publish it on your system, and we're going to take only what we earn from the sales. You don't have to help us pay for marketing. And once their games, like Super Mario 3D World, if Super Mario 3D World would have came out on PS4, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC, I guarantee you that game would have sold at GTA 5 levels
Hmm.
across all platforms. And then the next time companies like EA and Activision and Ubisoft come to Sony and Microsoft and say, will you help us pay for our marketing? They will look at it and say, do you see what Nintendo just did without us paying them for their marketing? Maybe you need to learn how to be self-sufficient, and that could help correct that industry sickness, that problem that's in the industry. We all admit it's a problem, but it's the way of the industry is today. If Nintendo was on all platforms, they could actually fix that and in turn save us from another gaming crash.
So let me paraphrase what you just said because I completely agree with you. Okay, What you just said is that you consider Nintendo to be a software maker first, and that their software is the reason that we're all fans of Nintendo.
Yep.
And I think the problem, and that it would sell 30 million units if they put out Mario, Super Mario 3D World. I agree with everything you just said. The problem is Iwata thinks that Nintendo is a hardware company first, and so he thinks that their reason to exist is to sell Wii U's, and he will not let go of that concept. So
Then
he is
Iwata needs to go.
overlooking. I
Did-
agree. I think
So
he's
how does
overlooking how powerful their software is. And you just said it. You, as a consumer, value their software, not their hardware. And you want to play their software, and you appreciate how their software would delight other consumers who haven't played it. And that's to the tune of 25 million people who obviously didn't buy Super Mario 3D World because they don't have a Wii U.
Yep.
Yep. That is you just summed it you summed it up right there. And I mean ain't really nothing else much to say, but besides, do you think that within the next 2 to 3 years, do you really think Iwata is there? Because I'm gonna tell you something. Nintendo right now is where Sony was at during the Ken Kutaragi era. And when that changed and Kaz got there, and then and then how that dynamic works, look at where they at now. Change is good sometimes, even though people are afraid of change. But change is good sometimes, and I think it's time that we see that 1980s thought process within Nintendo disappear, and we move into the millennium with a new leader.
Just think about this. What if Nintendo was to start putting products on the Vita? The
Oh,
Vita's
do
in
that.
dire straits right now. All right,
That's
it's
crazy.
almost in just as bad a shape as Wii U. But if you could get
But but
Super
but
Mario
but
on
Nathan,
Vita,
realistically, Nintendo owns the handheld side,
true.
and I think that would hurt them. I think that if they prop up the Vita, that's just going to cost them 3DS sales. So I think they would be foolish to support the Vita, because I think that they'd be far better off if the Vita just died and that they had the only exclusive handheld. I don't think anybody's buying an Nvidia Shield, but I think that Nintendo would rather have no competition on the handheld side, and that leads us to better to support mobile. I think with library titles, with 2004 and earlier titles, and
Yeah.
pick out of the 2000 early titles from before 2000, pick 50 or 100 that you could modify the controls so that it would work on an iPhone or a Galaxy and or a tablet, and I think you would sell millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of units. I think that those things would kick Angry Birds' butt. If you made it, I
Mm.
do, I do. I think, look, if I could play Super Mario Brothers 3, which I believe came out in like 2002 or 3, if I could play that game, which is
No,
a
that
side scroller,
was Super
very
Mario Brothers
simple game.
3.
Yeah, remember Super Mario Bros. 3, the GBA game.
Oh,
If
the
you could
Oh,
play,
the
GBA
GBA
game.
game. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
remember Super Mario Bros. 3, the side scroller GBA game.
Yeah.
That game, I think I played that game on the GBA for a year. I mean, I just love that game. And if you could sell that game for $5 on a download on a mobile, I think they would sell 100 million of them. There's 1.5 billion smartphones out there, and
Yeah.
there's 2 or 300 million tablets. You don't think that you could sell 10 million at $5? I think you'd sell 100 million at five
Mr.
bucks.
Pachter,
They kill it.
what do you think Nintendo's investors are telling Iwata? I mean, because it's not all completely Iwata's decision. I'm sure he's bucking the system, but do you think there's people within his own camp that are telling Iwata, look, we need to go this direction, and he's just being like the stalemate, not letting it happen because of I guess, foolish pride?
I want to be fair. I am always baffled by how Japanese companies, public companies, behave, and exactly how they're owned, and exactly how the people that own them talk about them. It usually takes an outside investor, not a Japanese investor, but a U.S. or European investor, to create change. So the only Japanese companies that I have seen actually behave more like Western companies are Nissan, who brought in a French, I guess he's Brazilian, French, and Lebanese CEO, but Carlos Ghosn, born in Brazil, but his family's from France. And Sony, who brought in Sir Howard Stringer, didn't work very well, and then they brought in Kaz. But they have an outside investor in Third Point, a guy named Dan Loeb, who's making a lot of noise about how they should run the company. And Kaz, who is Japanese born but raised in the U.S., educated in the U.S., as American as a Japanese guy can be, they're behaving differently. Sony and Nissan both are behaving differently with, so far, I think, with pretty good results. And again, you guys know the head of PlayStation is Andrew House, who's a British guy. So you're getting kind of a Western influence in these Japanese companies. Nintendo does not have that. I don't think you can name a senior executive at Nintendo, and I'm not counting Reggie as a senior executive. I mean, a decision maker, somebody living in Kyoto who is Western born. They're all Japanese. They all grew up in the
Isn't
Nintendo
Howard
system.
Lincoln? Isn't Howard Lincoln on the board or whatever?
He probably is, but he's, like I said, an old. I mean, Howard is probably 75 years old and bought into the old strategy from the 80s. Every person there buys into the old strategy. So I don't think there's any pressure from investors to. And the thing that killed me was the Yamauchi family. When Mr. Yamauchi died a few months ago, his
Yeah.
family just sold their stock back to Nintendo.
I know.
They even bailed out. So I don't know that there's anybody who's clamoring for Nintendo to change. They need to lose money for another several quarters before the investors rise up and revolt.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was actually talking with one of my partners, Morris Sutton and stuff. And I was
Uh,
talking, yeah, I was talking with Morris, and I was asking him, like, when a company does that, like buy back so much of their own shares, what's the legitimacy behind that? And they'll tell you, like, they trying to show you that if they can invest that much in their own company, then you should too. It's like, kind of showing that, hey, we still got good things going on over here, and if we're willing to take the risk on our own company, then you guys shouldn't worry because we in it too. It's not like investors are just going in it by itself. I'm showing my own support for my own company, and I believe in it. You know what I mean? And sometimes that right there
but
can excite things.
Gerard, that's true in general, but in this particular case on the share buyback, they only bought back shares from the Yamauchi family, and the
Mm,
Yamauchi family had inheritance taxes due because Mr. Yamauchi died, and in Japan they taxed the estate, so they had to pay taxes. So Nintendo only bought back shares from them. They didn't do an open market purchase, and that's again the
mm.
board saying, let's feel sorry for the Yamauchi family and let's do a special buyback just of their stock so they can pay taxes. That again, that just shows that Nintendo, who's been sitting on $10 billion in cash forever, and who has literally 80% of their market value is cash, has never bought back stock ever before this time. So no, they
Wow.
don't. Even that they don't get it. They're doing the wrong thing there. They should be buying back from regular shareholders. That would reinforce that they believe in their model, but they haven't shown us that yet.
Wow. Got you. All right, cool. See, I love talking to Mike, man.
I like talking to Mr. Pachter too. So, you mind if I ask y'all a quick question? What's y'all's thoughts on Irrational Games, the closure that just happened?
Oh my God. Yo, like, to be honest, I thought Irrational Games was doing great. Like, I mean, BioShock, that series alone, is phenomenal. And then when you look at, Take Two as a company, it's like these guys are thriving. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of came to me as a shock. But you know, Ken Levine, man, he's a genius when it comes to game development. So, I mean, I know he's gonna be all right. There's a lot of people that I would say is willing to invest in his ideas alone. So I think they're gonna be all right. But I do believe that seeing this closure like this, I think that there's something else going on in the industry that we probably going to find out at a later time that's going on that a lot of people may not know. But this is crazy. And then Sony and Microsoft is already looking to get the developers from Irrational to jump on board their platforms right now. So it seems like it's another situation of a smaller company getting swallowed up by a bigger company maybe. But I couldn't believe it, man, because they great company to me. I
Uh,
don't know. Kind of sad.
what do you think, Mr. Pachter?
My good friend Marcus Beer, who is at Annoyed Gamer on Twitter, pretty much summed it up. He tweeted yesterday that the only people who think this is going to have an impact on the industry are game journalists, and nobody who actually has anything to do with the industry thinks it matters at all. I think Ken Levine is free to run his studio the way he chooses to. So I think it's about as eventful as Cliffy B leaving Epic. Who cares? I mean, the
Well,
BioShock brand will survive, and if somebody else works on it, I don't think the game will be as good as it was when Ken worked on it, but it'll still come out. And I think Ken is a talented guy who's going to make great product, whether he has 15 people working for him or 100. And I don't understand why anybody thinks that this is going to impact the industry. This is Ken Levine deciding what he wants to do. We didn't hear headlines when Tim Schafer decided he was going to make small games instead of big games. Who cares? I mean, I think that everybody, Cliff is doing that too. Cliff said, "I'm not making console games anymore."
Disc based
Who?
games anymore.
I
Yeah, who
guess
cares?
my
It's
my
like
only
these
take.
guys.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I would be really happy if Cliff and Ken made things like The Walking Dead. Like, who didn't love that? And
I
if they
love
start doing these,
Walking
yeah,
Dead
me
and
too.
The Wolf Among Us is crazy. Oh my
So if they
god.
start doing these, these Daisy, Walking Dead kind of story based, interesting, I don't care if they're on mobile, tablet, PC, Xbox Live Arcade, whatever, that we're better for it. If that's what the most creative guys in the industry think they will be best at, who are we to second guess them? So I don't see this as a bad thing at all.
I guess the only thing that kind of bothered me about it is not that he wants that I care that he wants to do that. It's just that coming off the high of Bioshock Infinite, getting nominated as potentially Game of the Year, and stuff like that. It's just it felt like all the people that he laid off, they busted their butt. They put out that crown jewel of a game, and then all of a sudden they come into work and they're like, you don't have a job no more. And I just
Well,
felt,
I would
I
I got to say seriously, you should not feel sorry for those people because A, they made a ton of money working on that game, and B, you've got oh well, gosh, I'm blanking on his name. The guy who just went to Microsoft. Uh,
Oh,
Ferguson, Rod Ferguson.
yeah,
You
yeah,
got
yeah.
Rod Ferguson, who is an executive producer on the game, who is now hiring for that new Gears of War team. And so I would imagine every single one of those people who wants a job is going to get one with Rod if they want one. They are not; those guys are not going to go hungry because they're really talented. In the industry, although there's tons of talented people, there are still guys making hardcore console games and will be looking for talent like the Bioshock Infinite team. So
they're
don't worry about
definitely
them;
more
they'll be fine.
talented.
They already getting scouted. Like it was so funny, yo, Mike. It was mad funny because like and Nate, right? I mean, literally, right after the news came out, Sony and Microsoft was like, "Yo, we got a lot of stuff going on over here. What you want?" Like, it was like order. But I love that though. I love that because what that means is that and everybody's competing and everybody knows who got the real talent out here and they going for it. You know what I'm saying? That's what the industry has always been about. Like if you look back in Super Nintendo Sega Genesis days, everybody was like, yo, look, we gotta do this, look, we gotta do that. It was more fun, but it was, competing. Everybody want that crown. And I feel like that energy is back again and Irrational going the way that's going, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, in the position that Sony is in right now, like, what if they got the bulk of that company or even Microsoft? What do you think the next game would be? It's God, this is just more games for us, man.
Yep.
So I think
And Take Two didn't go away. Remember, Take Two's still around, so there's
Yeah.
still
As
Rockstar
long as they don't
guys.
kill
There's
Bioshock, I guess I'll be all right. I just love that game. That
well,
that
I've heard. I
is.
mean, they Take Two hasn't said, but the rumor, which I think is probably true, is that Take Two or 2K Marin is going to make the next Bioshock, and those guys did an okay job with Bioshock Two. It wasn't as good as One or Infinite, but
yeah, it was.
but they did an okay job, and I'm sure they'll snap up the talented guys from Irrational as well.
I really hope they take the next Bioshock back to its roots of Bioshock 1. With
Yeah,
this next generation hardware, PS4 especially, I mean, it, to be able to have that dark, scary. I'm talking like, when I play like Outlast on PS4,
Outlast is the scariest game ever
it
created.
makes
Ever
your
created.
skid crawl. Now imagine if
Oh my God.
imagine them high quality, that amazing depth of graphics and realism with Big Daddy walking, but you can't see him, and the sound effects and stuff. I mean, it would just be. I hope they take it back to its roots because I mean, Infinite was good, but man, Bioshock One, that was such a good game, and I would love to see an even scarier, darker Bioshock. What do you think?
I mean, personally, I mean, any Bioshock that comes out on the next generation platform, I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't go into games thinking that, oh, well, the same people that did Bioshock 2, so I'm not excited. Nah, I don't think like that. Every new opportunity is a new experience. I don't doubt anybody. I just want to see what it is. And as long as Bioshock lives on and we could get it on PS4, Xbox One, they got my money. I'm ready to play it. That's how I feel about it.
Yep.
And I'm not smart enough to tell anybody what kind of games they should make. I figure that the creative side of the business comes up with better ideas than I would ever hope to. So I'm happy that they just keep coming out with great stuff. Everybody in the industry.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, it's been a great roundtable discussion. I'm really glad. I want to thank y'all for joining me for this, and I'm quite sure that y'all got things y'all need to do and stuff that you're waiting to do. So, if that's all y'all want to say and stuff, we can go ahead and just close this out.
All right, cool.
All
No
right,
problem.
Nathan, thanks
Hey,
for having us.
I
I appreciate
appreciate it.
you, man. You already know, Big Mike. I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I love you, my dude. You already know what it is, man. I'll see you at E3, or I don't know. Maybe are you going to GDC?
I'm going to be stuck in Boston that week, so I'm not going this year. First time in 11, I haven't been there.
Oh, so when the next? Wait. Are you going to PAX then? In Boston?
No, I got some business to do in Boston. It just the timing. GDC keeps moving the dates every year, so if they do it the same time every year, I could count on going. But they
Man,
flip it around.
so E3 then. I guess E3 would be the time I see you then.
Yep.
Okay, bring your posse.
Oh, yo, I got the click with me, man. Oh yeah, just let you know, Mike. The next time you're in New York, please let me know because I want you to be a guest on my show. The reason why is because I film out of Hot 97 Studios now. I'm partnered with Hot 97, so now like it's a whole bigger production now. So it'll be
Now,
my
now you're
honor
go- now,
if you come.
now you're
Right?
gonna hate me, dude. You're gonna hate me because I just got stranded there for the last 10 days. I just got home last night.
Yo, you know what? You know what? I'm not gonna say what I want to
I,
say to you right now, but I'm gonna get you. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna get you.
well, I
No,
was stuck. I was stuck there. I couldn't. I was there 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't fly home because of the weather. And I just been stuck in a hotel room for. And I worked all week last week, but I was there that whole Valentine's Day weekend by
oh my
myself doing nothing.
god, yo, I would have had you on the show. So, oh my god.
I should have, I was just feeling sorry for myself watching the Olympics and reading, so I didn't go out. It was snowing and it was terrible. And now I'm back in Long Beach. It's 73 degrees and the sun's out and it's beautiful.
You know what? We forgot to talk about one thing. Today is the 22nd. It is launch day in Japan for PlayStation 4. What do you
Oh,
call it,
awesome.
Mike?
They went crazy.
Oh,
Yo.
they'll sell 2.5 million units fast. I mean, that market will snap these things up.
Yeah,
And I
I
think that
saw the unveil.
based on the production you saw, based on what you saw coming to the U.S., they've been holding back production to launch strong there. So it won't sell 2.5 million the first day, but they'll sell 2.5 million in the next several months. I mean, that Japan's going to love this device.
Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy, man.
I typed it out to HipHopGamer. I don't know if he's seen it or not, but I kind of feel like PlayStation 4 is the rebirth of the PlayStation 2 era. That machine went on to sell 155 million plus. I see PS4 possibly being able to surpass that within its life cycle.
Well, if Microsoft cooperates and continues to charge $100 more, I got to think at least half of the Microsoft fan base will say, for $100 less money, maybe I'll try a PS4. $100 is $100,
Not just
and
not just $100 less money, but in all honesty, they're paying. Microsoft's asking them to pay $100 more for a system that's doing less performance than PS4. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah, like I said, I think it's sort of like I think both companies have the attitude that you're gonna buy our system because you owned our last system, and I think Microsoft's wrong. I mean, I think that there are a lot of people who love their Xbox 360, but they'd rather have $100 in their pocket. PlayStation Network is quite competitive with Xbox Live,
PlayStation Plus
and I think.
is insane.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see people switch over. And I think what's really much, much more important is over time, you're going to have a lot of people who own both consoles if they can afford, $900. And I mean, again, it'll probably be a total of $600 eventually. But the guy who signs up for PSN first or PlayStation Plus first isn't going to switch back to Xbox Live. So I think Microsoft really needs to think this through. They're going
Yeah,
to lose,
a lot.
subscribers to their network if they let people buy PS4s first.
Yeah, I agree. And I know you do. I know you have an issue. No, well, not really an issue with PlayStation now. I know you don't think a lot of people's gonna jump on it, but I really think they will because after seeing it, man, like experiencing it, playing it, it's like the initial thoughts that people had was like, okay, PlayStation Now sounds good, but on live tried it. I don't know how this is gonna be. People had their doubts, and man, after I played it, I played The Last of Us. I played God of War Ascension, Puppeteer, all on the PS Vita, all on the all on TV, online. I got friends in the beta right now playing it, telling me about it. Yo, Mike, man, I'm blown away by just the performance of it, and I really think
See,
people will do it.
I have zero issue with PlayStation Now as a service, and I have zero issue with the technology. Like I know it works, and I know it's fun. The problem I have is that as I understand Sony's proposed business model, they're going to charge you extra for it. So it's not part of PlayStation Plus. It's add on another probably $10 a month. And
Uh,
I don't think people pay $10 a month unless there's a lot of content. And the stuff you just said, you wouldn't pay $10 a month to play. You would pay nothing. You do it for free, but you won't pay $10 a month to play God of War 3. You're just not going to do it.
yeah,
And you
But
I agree with
if they
that.
could go back and go to all their third-party partners and be able to take and get the entire PlayStation One library, the entire PlayStation Two library,
If
the
they did
entire
that, yeah. If they
the
did that,
entire PSP library, and then the entire PS3 library, and put it all together on PlayStation Now as one, pay once monthly, play as much as you want, as long as you want, a Netflix for games type of service.
Yeah, and remember, Nathan, I cover Netflix. So my guess is that what you just described would cost Sony 200 million bucks a year. That because you're talking about 500 to 1,000 games, that would cost them $200 million a year, which means that at $10 a month they would need about 2 million subscribers to cover the cost of that. And I actually don't. I mean, we've seen this with On Live. We've seen this with Game Tap.
yeah,
People don't want to pay $10 for old stuff. Nobody would subscribe to Netflix if they didn't have TV shows that were new, were 1 year old, or if they didn't have some movies that were 1 year old, which they do with their Epix partnership. When it
right.
was just 8 year old stuff, nobody cared. And I promise you, you take a look at what you watch on Netflix, and you start counting up the number of stuff of programs you watch that are more than 2 years old, and the answer is none. Unless I mean, you'd watch season one of Breaking Bad because you want to watch season six, which is 1 year old. You will not do it. I'm telling you, people won't. And so I think that's the problem. Sony will have to spend 200 to 500 million bucks a year to get what you just described, and they will never get enough subscribers to pay for that. They need
That's
newer content, and they're not going to get it.
That's an interesting way. That's an interesting way of looking at it. I still am the way I look at it right now. I think it's an ambitious project, and I don't think you're going to spend $380 million on a project that you're not going to be balls out all in to properly support. So I give it a wait and see approach in terms of what your thoughts are on it with the business model. But I will say this though, like I'm just very impressed that it actually works. I mean, you hear
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it, but
yeah, no question on that.
it really works, Mike. And I can't, yo, Mike, I'm still kind of blown away by this, dog. Like, the shit. I mean, right before my eyes, Mike, I was like, yo, this really works, dog. I was just, yo, I think I gave all the PR like mad hugs and stuff. I almost cried in front of everybody. You know how I get, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. I love this stuff, man. You know how I am, man. And I was just so just being a gamer. That shit was phenomenal. So. Yeah. And yo, Mike, tell your family that hello and that I love them. I love your family, yo. I love the pictures and everything. Like you are as a person, man. Just being in the industry, like you one of those dudes that like keep the industry alive, especially for somebody like me, man. So love you to death. And Nathan, I appreciate you.
Love you too, my brother.
It means a lot, man. Y'all have no idea. Like I live and breathe. This is my life, yo. So I appreciate just come together, talking with people. This is just amazing to me, dog. Word up.
I appreciate y'all joining me for this discussion today. It's been a lot of fun and stuff, and all I can say is I'm looking forward to this generation. I'm so absolutely in love with my PS4. I mean, I play it more than my PC, and like I said, hip hop, I owe you an apology. Need for Speed Rivals does look better on PS4.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's live on camera. Thank you. It's like yo, I'm telling you, I don't know why it does. It just
It
do.
does.
Like,
I have both PC and PS4 version, and the PC version has mad pop in at times, and stuff like that. When it comes to the scenery, it just doesn't look as crisp. I don't know why. Maybe they ported the last gen version up to the PC and then, made the PS4 version from the ground up. I don't know, but it does look better on PS4.
hey, Mike, before you go, I'm working on this video right now for Titanfall, and I love the gameplay, the beta and stuff like that. But let me ask you a question because you play games. You're not just the business guy. You play games too. Would you consider Titanfall a true next generation game? And just so you can understand what I mean by true next generation game, I'm not talking about like a Call of Duty Ghost where it was ported to next gen. So it's on a next gen system, but that's not a true next gen game because it wasn't built from the ground up to really harness the power of these new systems. So in Titanfall, love the game. I think the gameplay is incredible. But would you consider that a true next generation title to represent, the Xbox One? Or do you feel like it's just a fun title to pick up that a lot of people are going to gravitate to because it's fun to play?
I think they optimize it for Xbox 360, but I haven't played the beta yet. Just what I've seen.
You ain't played the
You know, I
Oh,
no, dude, I was stranded in New York last week
that's
working,
right. Okay.
so no. I had a PC. I don't have any consoles with me, so no. I literally got home last night after 13 days stuck in New York. So I have not touched a console since the beta went live. But what I'm hearing, I've never heard buzz on a game ever like I'm hearing on Titanfall. So I think it's going to do extremely well. Um, I, I think that no, I don't think that they probably have yet optimized. I mean, I respect Vince a lot, and I think Respawn is a great studio, but probably Titanfall 2 will be the first true next generation from him. They've been working on the Xbox 360 version since 2010, and they've probably been working on the Xbox One version since 2012. So probably not.
Got you. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All
Now,
right.
yeah, I had to do that. Hey, Nathan.
Yeah.
Um, yo, I just want to say, like, I appreciate your grind and everything that you're doing, man. And this is what it's all about. So I really just want to tell you, I appreciate you, and I love what you're doing out there. And keep it up, man. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, see you at E3 one year or something like that. Get it popping. And if you ever meet Michael Pachter in person, I'm telling you, man, this dude is legendary based off his character alone. Seriously.
I think I got a little ways to go before I get invited to an E3. I'm still just a truck driver, doing videos on YouTube. So, but I'm
Yo,
trying. I'm trying. You got to start somewhere, right?
started out in 2008. I met Michael Pachter in 2008. I met him. He showed me mad
This
love.
back this back when Gerard was 16 years old, by the way.
Yeah,
Well, Mike, if you ever find yourself down in Houston, Texas, you got to give me shoot me an email, man. I'll be glad to come meet you and have a beer with you.
yeah, I'm telling
Will
you,
do.
it'd be great, man. So look,
You too, hip hop. If you ever come down to Houston, we got to hook it up, man.
oh
And
well, I'm gonna be in Austin because I'm on a panel for South by Southwest. So I'm gonna be in Austin, Texas, sometime in early March and stuff. And also they having a Titanfall event in March as well that I was invited to. So I'm probably be out there for that as well. But it's Austin, not Houston. I don't know how far they are, but I will be in Texas.
it's
Pretty far. Pretty
about
far.
it's about 3.25 hour drive from or actually not even that, 2 3/4 hours drive if you go 290.
Oh, well, like I said, I've never even been to Texas, so I don't even know.
Anyway, hey, hip hop, I did send you my gamer tag. If you
Oh
check
yeah,
your,
I got it.
send me a friends request, man. We better take and do some Battlefield together or something. Then,
All right, cool. Oh hell yeah, it's on. And hey Mike, Mike, yo, what do you think of the order? Did you see the order?
oh, dude, that game was sick.
No. Have not.
Yo,
I mean, I know
have-
what it. I know what it
like,
is.
Mike,
I know what it is,
got
but no.
that.
You don't
Just
care what I think about
they
games,
back to
dude.
the
It doesn't matter what I think.
Mike, you got to check out the Order 1886. That gameplay trailer
yo,
was off the hook.
yo, yo, Mike, I'm telling you, man. Hey, Mike, man, when are we gonna see you like compete in Evo or something like that? I would love to see you play, like really, really get involved with this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would love to see that, man.
I am I'm much more of a turn-based, take your time, think about the game. I mean, look, my greatest achievement this year is I'm at level 487 on Candy Crush. Okay, so
Yo, I quit. It's over. Yo,
Candy Crush.
oh my
oh,
god.
you're laughing. Go ahead and go. Let's see you get to 487.
Yo, yo, I probably won't. But
It's a challenging game.
I did get 152 in Flappy Bird, so I'm good with that.
Flappy Bird.
That's pretty high. I got to say, my daughters haven't cracked 100 yet.
Yeah, I did 152. So yeah,
That's
man.
good.
But all right, nah, I gotta go seriously though. But yo, I just love talking to y'all. But I'm working on this big video and stuff like that. Hey Nathan, do me a favor. When I get off, if you and Michael still talking, that's cool. But as soon as you done, call me, please, like over Skype. I gotta talk to you too.
No problem.
All
All
right.
right, cool. All
Talk
right,
to you guys
Mike, love
later.
you to death,
Catch
my
y'all
dude.
later.
God bless
All
you and
right. Bye bye.
everything. Peace.